right, now to this. President Trump is denying a new allegation of sexual assault, which prominent Vice columnist Jean Carroll claims happened 23 years ago in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room near Trump Tower. Carroll writes about the alleged incident in a new book excerpted in today's issue of New York Magazine, which the publication says has already been viewed over 1 million times. Carroll claims an incident occurred in the fall of 1995 or the spring of 1996, during which, she says, Trump forced himself on her and that she fought him off and ran away. At the White House, President Trump says it never happened, citing claims she makes against other men in her book. And he also addressed a 1997 photo that appears to show him, Carroll, and their spouses at the time.
I have no idea who this woman is. This is a woman who's also accused other men of things, as you know. It is a totally false accusation. I think she was married, as I read. I have no idea who she is. But she was married to a actually nice guy, Johnson, a newscaster, standing with my coat on in a line. Give me a break. With my back to the camera. I have no idea who she is. What she did is it's terrible. What's going on? So it's a total false accusation, and I don't know anything about her. And she's made this charge against others.
New York Magazine and the New York Times have spoken with two friends whom Carroll says she confided in shortly after the alleged attack. In his latest column for the Washington Post entitled "Republicans Believed Juanita Broaddrick, the new rape allegation against Trump is more credible," George Conway writes in part, Carroll's claim, for a number of reasons, actually rests upon a significantly stronger foundation than Broaddrick's. For one thing, before she went public with her story, Broaddrick had repeatedly denied that Clinton had assaulted her, even under oath. For another, Carroll's account is supported by the sheer number of claims that have now surfaced against Trump, claims in which women have accused Trump of engaging in an unwelcome or forcible sexual conduct or assault against them. These claims are all denied by the president, far outnumber the publicized sexual misconduct incidents that involved Clinton, which mostly concerned rumors or allegations of consensual affairs. Carroll's account is also, of course, supported by Trump's depraved remarks on Access Hollywood, that video of which there is simply no equivalent in Broaddrick's case. Whatever else he may have done, Clinton never made a video like that. What Trump described on the video is exactly what Carroll says he did to her. Republicans or conservatives who promoted Broaddrick's charges would be hypocritical if they failed to champion Carroll and condemn Trump. Karine, I throw this all to you. Good luck. No, but it's the president has had a number of women come forward, and I guess I wonder, pulling back to 20,000 feet, if those allegations have been taken the same way as others who have perhaps suffered more politically.
Yeah, I think in that article that you just laid out there, Mika, the thing that sticks out for me in all of this, it is eerily similar. What she says is so eerily similar to what Donald Trump has admitted on tape, saying in the Access Hollywood tape, which is sexual assault is essentially fine. And now he has, this is the president of the United States, has more or almost 24 claims against him from women. And, you know, Mika, if this was any normal presidency, this topic, this right here, this story would be leading the day almost every day. Yeah. But there's such chaos happening with this administration that we don't even lead with this. But you know, this is the way that Donald Trump has spoken, has talked about women, the things that he admitted that he believes how to treat women. And you know, I saw an interview yesterday on this network with Joy Reid, with her, Jean Carroll, and it was devastating. She was believable. When you heard her talk about this, it was just heart-wrenching, her walking through this, and you can tell she's still processing this. Right. And so this is where we are today with this president.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Mike Barnicle, I think even when we've covered stories where someone on the other side of the political aisle, whatever that would be from Trump, but I'm talking about Democrats, is accused of this, the question I always raise while you're weighing both sides, when you don't have evidence that is tangible, is why would a woman come forward with a story like this? Now, some people might have answers to that question.
Well, I'm sure that's the case. But Adrienne, consider this. We just saw the President of the United States standing inches from the Oval Office. And we live in a country where we are perilously close to going to war with Iran. The Middle East is aflame. Russia and China have formed a powerful alliance that could threaten our situations in the Pacific and around the globe. And then back to the President's comments that you just heard and saw. I would submit, I don't know about Miami, and I don't know about the people coming there for the debate, but the President of the United States has successfully narcoticized the country. We are asleep at the switch.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, you just hit the nail on the head. And, you know, I think that's what's so disturbing. And I think Karine also just mentioned this, which is we are so used to so much chaos coming out of this administration that, you know, a credible claim of sexual assault is something that is not driving the headlines. I hope everybody will read E. Jean Carroll's column. It is absolutely, it will take your breath away. I think the very end of it is also very haunting, how she sort of leaves everybody in this, you know, a state of disbelief. And, you know, going back to the Access Hollywood tape, that should have sunk any campaign, any candidate's campaign at that moment on October 7th, 2016, when that tape came out. But we're so used to a president creating so much chaos. And of course, to the point that you made, Mike, about, you know, all the chaos that's happening around the world, globally, the fact that the United States every single day is losing any sort of status of a superpower that it once had to countries like China and Russia, that President Trump seems very focused on, you know, strengthening relationships with those countries as opposed to our typical allies. It's very disturbing, but the chaos is what really, you know, we're just so used to it at this point that typical stories that should be driving the news are oftentimes fourth or fifth in line in terms of, like, you know, what people are covering.
Again, we're back, Jonathan, we're back to the ground noise. And the thing we found with Bill Clinton in the 1990s was there were so many things going at one time. Right. Pretty soon people just, they didn't care. Right. The president could transfer missile technology to China despite the fact the Pentagon and the State Department and everybody else said don't transfer the missile technology to China just because the American firm happens to be the DNC's biggest contributor. You could shout that from the mountaintops. Nobody cared. And you just kept going one after another. There were always 4 or 5 going at the same time. Pretty soon, nobody wanted to hear any of them.
It's hard to focus, and this president spins off headlines and spins off scandals with such speed.
This is what he did in New York City.
Very few things have stuck to him to this point in his administration. I mean, Charlottesville for certain, Helsinki, I think the situation at the border with these children, that is doing so as well, but very little else. I mean, this should be underscored here. The allegations here are of, it's not just sexual assault, this is of rape, which has only happened once before with Donald Trump, and that was his wife, Ivana, while they were married, and she later recanted that accusation. So this is even a different type of story here, and it remains to be seen whether or not it will break through, whether or not it will be something that the president has to really answer beyond those comments at the Oval Office, particularly, as Richard just said, during this week here with the debates and all of the foreign policy stuff going on, the aftermath of Iran, the meeting in Japan. It is hard for the American people to focus on the story, and also there's so much of the American public that clearly doesn't care about the allegations of the conduct.
Well, I can tell you this allegation has gotten far less press than Joe Biden putting his hands on somebody's shoulders.
Yep.
And if you don't believe me, just
take a look.
Do a Google search.
Okay, we're navigating through a lot of news and analysis here. Adrienne Elrod, Karine Jean-Pierre, thank you both very much. At the top of the hour, we're going to talk to Reverend Al Sharpton about his interview with Joe Biden. Also ahead, Mayor Pete Buttigieg wasn't at this weekend's fish fry. Instead, he was back in South Bend, Indiana for a town hall event following the fatal shooting of a black man by a white police officer. We'll get a live report from South Bend. Plus, Axios has new reporting on some serious questions over the Trump transition team's vetting process for administration members. We're back in just 2 minutes.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.